Good morning, I'm WaywornWyrm, and welcome to my channel. And welcome to the introductory video to Like Grains of Sand, a Stars Without Numbers story. Like most stories on this channel, this is an original story written and read by me that uses a role-playing game system to help me tell the story. And this story in particular is going to be using Stars Without Numbers, which superficially is similar to the old Traveler system, but not much past superficially. So in the history of this world, Earth discovered a thing called metadimensional space, and it is used to travel between star systems. And the way that works is a thing called a spike drill. And a spike drill will drill into metadimensional space and will travel 6 days per hex. And I really dislike using that term, because that's a very gamey term. But that is what it is. And metadimensional space works honestly more like John Scalzi's A Collapsing Empire, or The Collapsing Empire, than, say, Warhammer's Warp, where you can jump into metadimensional space, but there has to be a pathway to your ending point. You can't just travel through metadimensional space like you can travel through normal space. So that's the downside of it. The upside of it is you can go between star systems in a matter of days. So there you go. And soon after they discovered spike drives on Earth, there's this new thing that started appearing called MES, which is Metadimensional Extraversion Syndrome, which, as far as they can tell, when you go into metadimensional space and travel the stars, there is a chance that you or one of your descendants will have MES. And uncontrolled MES, metadimensional energy, essentially ravages their brain, leading to insanity and or death, with psychic powers as a side effect. And the Terran Mandate, as it was called, which is the government that ruled this empire, it discovered ways for people who have MES to control the metadimensional energy. And they became psychics. And a lot of technology that required the use of psionics was created, including these giant, essentially stargates, that allowed large ships to travel even faster than a normal spike drive ship could travel. And everything expanded, and it was amazing. And then came the Scream. And the Scream was a wash of metadimensional energy that covered all known areas of space and drove every single psychic crazy. They could not handle the energy that swept through their brains. Many of them died, either immediately or soon after. The rest went violently insane and ended up killing people. Lots of people. And two things happened with that. Well, one main thing happened, and that was the entire mandate collapsed, essentially overnight, as there was no one to control the psionic technology. And there was a complete breakdown of order that was referred to as the Silence, which happened after the Scream. And the Scream happened 600 years ago. And the last 100 or so years, in the frontier sector where our story takes place, people have started coming out of the Silence to the same technology level that Earth was right around the time that psionics was created. MES had been a thing, but to harness that into psionics, you had to have people who could control the energy. So we're back to that point. And psionics are just starting to come back. So it is a future story told hundreds of years after an apocalypse. And one of the things that sets the game Stars Without Numbers apart from essentially every other game is what's called the faction turn. Now, what the faction turn is, it's essentially a single-player game strapped on top of the game that DMs or GMs or whatever you want to call it play. Essentially, all of the major NPC factions, governments, major corporations, maybe churches, etc., in this sector have their own player character sort of thing. And every month they have a turn, and it plays out like many strategy games where they are all vying for control, and that will affect the story. And that will be going on all around the players. And I think this is really fascinating and really helpful. So tune in a couple minutes for the first episode of Like Grains of Sand. And make sure, more than ever, watch tomorrow's Friday video. I have some important announcements that have really solidified in the last couple of days that I will be announcing tomorrow. Thank you.